Alright guys, Cammy again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Finally an update from OpTic as to what's going on with the process, official confirmation as to when this documentary is going to go live, but also some of the details surrounding it. We thought maybe after all this delay, a 90-minute, maybe a 2-hour documentary at a push. Rumour has it this is going to be a 3-hour Martin Scorsese epic arriving in a couple of days' time. The hype very much seems to be back. Some big updates with Black Ops 7 as well. Very much intrigued your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Plenty to get into today. Firstly, wanted to start here. So DreamHack, there's 2 of them this year. The first one in Birmingham in the UK at the end of March. The second one in the middle of May at DreamHack Atlanta, of course over in Georgia. Kind of interesting timing because there is no longer an Atlanta team. They went to Vegas. They're hosting champs. That is FaZe. Now, just a quick update on Major 2. We saw a few days ago the tickets sold out immediately. Now, you can still get a DreamHack ticket and walk into the COD venue. That's no issue. But if you want a guaranteed seat, you need a GA add-on to the DreamHack ticket, same way that it worked in Dallas last year. We sold out of those like immediately. So Adam Apicella was like, okay, I'm going to try and find another hall or swap around the way the venue is structured so we can have more space. The VIP tickets are still what they were. You can't get one of those anymore. The Challengers tickets have sold out in kind of controversial fashion because they included a load of GA tickets. That was a talking point. But they will be dropping more GA tickets today. Now, they don't say here the final wave, the last and final call. I think there still may be some more to come. But yeah, if you guys do want to go, a couple of hours after this video goes live, these tickets will be on sale. The COD League talk about it as well. So yeah, just an update for you guys if you've not got a ticket for that yet. Eric Boom, he's not going to be in the league, but he has got his visa approved. So of course he's looking to come back to the States and play over there. Of course, is where you want to be really in Challengers. Certainly how competitive it's going to be this season. Can he get back into the league? There was some talk after ReeaL left Miami and went to Toronto, whether they could get Eric Boom back instead. That's not what they've decided. Traixx, of course, is going to be there 4th. Time will tell how that works out. Couple of things on BO7. I think the first thing here really on BO6 did surprise many last night. They turned up on Black Ops 6 to try and play, and it looks like they've killed the ranked play servers. So you can't even play it anymore. Don't really know why exactly, but you've got to play pubs for the next week before Black Ops 7. That's how it appears. Or you can go back and play an older game such as Modern Warfare 3. We talked about this yesterday. Pretty controversial in the end. Method is doing this tournament with all the new rosters. People are like, oh, why has it got to be Modern Warfare 3? Why not wait for the release and do it on BO7? Probably the CDL wouldn't be too happy about that. But whatever you think about that, it's coming up in a couple of days. And Shotzzy, it seems, is getting ready for it with the new roster, playing a few Modern Warfare 3 chals. So likely be the last time that Modern Warfare 3 is played as a throwback game for some time to come. But I guess time will tell. Now, we also yesterday got the full overviews of all of the maps coming up for Black Ops 7. So I guess first of all we can have a look more so at some of the pictures here, and I will share all of the maps here in a second, but these are the Black Ops 2 throwbacks, right? So this is Express, of course it came back in Cold War as well. A lot of these maps have this Japanese style theme. This, of course, a great search and destroy map in Black Ops 2, came back in Black Ops Cold War as well, of course, as we said. Now I will say a lot of the other maps here in BO7 that we are seeing the overviews of, I don't know how many of them look that competitively viable. So I think that we will need to be dipping into the Black Ops 2 map pool quite a bit. Hijacked was actually also played in Black Ops 2 very early on, but isn't an especially viable competitive map. Really, this of course is Nuketown, doesn't need much explanation, and then these are just some other pictures of Raid, although I think we've seen most of these already. So Raid's going to be played, I don't think there's really much doubt about that. Now, many of these maps we have already seen, so Blackheart, of course, we saw it arrived towards the end, I think, of the beta. Colossus is, I don't think, one we've seen quite yet, but there are plenty of screenshots of this going around, so there you go, you guys can pretty much see what's going on there on screen. Anyway, a lot of these maps, relatively symmetrical, may work, may not work, but I think the key thing to keep in mind is just the size of these maps, because Colossus is considered a small size map. It looks like, you know, maybe there's a world where this works, but I think we can look through plenty of these maps and say, well, some questions on that. Cortex was another one in the beta. Like the look of Cortex in general, I think they did a pretty good job with that. They also consider that to be small size, but I think that could definitely be a viable one. Now, this is the map that I'm probably most excited for out of all the ones in this list, and that is Den. Now, you might remember a while ago, there was a screenshot of like a character in the middle of the map, and it looked exactly like Gridlock from Black Ops 4. that was mainly because of this structure here in the background. It looked I thought it was Gridlock. I thought they were doing a Gridlock remaster. And to be fair, this map on the surface looks almost exactly like I mean, this picture at the bottom, if you'd have told me that was Gridlock, I'd have told you, like, yeah, obviously. Same with the top image. But it's actually not. The map layout is distinctly different. Of course, both set in, you know, Tokyo or whatever, right? Certainly, Gridlock was Japanese map back in the day as well. So there are lots of parallels here. But the map layout and design is not the same as Gridlock. It is a different layout, and I like the look of that, right? So I would be somewhat surprised if Den doesn't play well competitively. I think he's got a lot of good vibes from Gridlock back in the day, and also what we may see going forward. So that's probably the one out of all of these that I'm most interested in. Exposure we've seen, that played in the beta. Express, of course, needs no further introduction. There's this map Flagship. Again, it's a small size. Like, I don't know, is it TikTok brain? Is that what they're doing now? I mean, I remember when Ghosts came out in 2013 and they had Siege, they had Chasm. I mean, it took you 2 minutes to run across the map, and that was if you had Marathon on. Not saying I'm a big fan of that, right? But like, these maps are pretty tiny, so they've got this Flagship map. I just don't see how that one can really be big enough. We've got Hijacked. There's also this map Homestead. Now, we've seen a little bit of this in some of the earlier releases and stuff. It's a gorgeous looking map. It kind of reminds me of this map called Whiteout from Ghost, if you remember that. But again, that was big. This is less big. And it also apparently has water, like, all the way around the map, which is at least how it appears. So I'm not so sure about this one. It is based in Alaska, so maybe Drazah would want that in. Imprint, of course, we have seen in the beta. That maybe could work, especially if they turn off some of the dynamic map elements. Nuketown needs no introduction. Paranoia, I mean, I don't really know what's going on here with this map layout. Not so convinced about that. Raids. Retrieval is another one. Again, another one that looks a bit like Whiteout, to be fair. And so not just but also like the map layout of this one. It's just got a load of rocks, right? So I'm not really seeing that for competitive, but it's a medium-sized map. There's also this map called Scar. I think there's even some, like, I don't know, like standoff vibes going on here, but I look at the map layout and I don't know. I'm not so convinced, right? So I think given all the maps and all the promise of all the maps in the game, we've seen a few of them. I think the Forge could be viable competitively, as we know. We saw that in the beta. Toshin as well, they've made a couple of changes. I could see that working. But out of all these additional maps that we're seeing, and then they go on to like these larger skirmish maps, the one that I really like the look of, I think, of these additional ones is Den, probably. But yeah, intrigue to your thoughts and all that stuff in the comment section below. Zoom was talking about this map as well and saying, look, it looks fire, but I'm not so sure that's going to work as a competitive map. So we may well need the remasters. Thankfully, we've got plenty of remasters just around the corner. We know that Yemen's coming back. We know that, of course, Meltdown's coming back. There's apparently plenty of other maps coming back as well. They've talked about remasters from Black Ops 1, potentially. I'd love to see a map like Havana, or maybe a map like Grid from Black Ops 1, one of my absolute all-time favorites. I could see that maybe working. Okay, to be fair, kind of massive map, but only certain parts of the map would be used on a hardpoint rotation or something. There's loads of other options. I know that many people want some Black Ops 4 maps to come back as well. They'd like to see Frequency, Arsenal, among others, return. There's plenty they could do. I think it's nice to have a mix, right? I think you don't want to just have all throwback maps. I don't think you want to have all new maps necessarily. I think a mix is pretty good. We might get that on this game. With any luck, that's what we're going to see. So intrigue to your thoughts in the comments. Of course, the other big update of the day is the process. It's not just the process, it's trust the process. OpTic Gaming presents. So this has been a key talking point now for some time. I think, frankly, after the World Championship, it was like, oh my God, the process has to come out right now because they've just pulled off what looked like the impossible. Then they won the World Cup as well, so obviously that had to go into it to kind of cement the remarkable story of OpTic Gaming season. I think it's worth keeping in mind that a story like OpTic had last year is one that not only will you see it very rarely, if ever. I mean, we could play competitive COD for another 100 years and people would still be comparing those stories of teams to OpTic 2025, right? With what they did this year. It's not just a COD thing either. Like this, just from an esports perspective in general, a team that won champs the previous year to be so down and out and then to come back and to dominate the end of the season, is, yeah, we've not seen anything like that quite before. So it does deserve the time to get it right. You know, this is, from Roger's perspective, the opportunity to have the absolute crowning accomplishment of his career, as it were, right? To create a true masterpiece that will live on in, you know, for time immemorial. So then the talk was, okay, maybe middle of August, right? When the, you know, OpTic Day and all this. Then it was like, okay, I'll come in September. Then it never did. And the discussion was, okay, why is the hype dead and all this? I think, look, generally people that say the hype is dead, they're probably still going to click on it and watch it at some point. And I think my perspective was, from an OpTic side, that if you're going to delay it and it's going to get delayed beyond when it was initially going to be released, you might as well delay it for some time, because if you do it in the middle of August or even in September when Rostermania is still kind of in full flow, there's still a bit of hype around the competitive COD scene, it makes sense to drop it then. Doesn't really make much sense to drop in October, I thought, at all. Not much going on in COD. You know, relatively speaking, people are watching other sports and doing other things before the COD scene starts up again with the release of the new title. But now in early November, the hype's building for Black Ops 7. It's only a few days away. The new game's here. The tourneys are going to be here. The CDL season is going to be back underway. So in terms of timing, if you weren't going to do it in September, probably best just to wait for about now. Some people also thought, would they do it alongside the race? We know that the race to Master Prestige, they're starting that stream on the 12th of November ahead of the release on the 14th, but really the 13th with the New Zealand time and all that. Some people said, okay, would they drop it at the same time? That didn't make much sense to me, because then it would kind of be splitting the viewership, right, between the stream and the documentary. So I always thought it probably made sense to drop it the day before, which is what OpTic are going to do. So the 11th of November, just a few days away, the process is going to be finally here, and like the hype is definitely back to a certain extent for this documentary, especially because of some of the details around it. So Roger says, because many people were saying, oh, you know, when's the process going to be here? Is it just the friends we met along the way? Is it going to be in 2026? And, well, no, it is arriving in a couple of days. Zinni says, I saw snippets of the process today, and damn, Roger might need a break. So clearly he's put his everything into this, and he actually did come out with an assessment and said the following: I genuinely appreciate the patience people have had for this project. I've sunk a countless amount of time into this movie, and it's getting the extra time, or it getting the extra time made a difference. 18 terabytes of footage, all condensed into a 3-hour monster of a documentary. Excited for you all to watch. So this is quite something, right? I mean, we've seen documentaries 45 minutes, maybe an hour, maybe 90 minutes, right? It's a long story. I really wonder how, I mean, it's going to be phenomenal. It really is. But I wonder how in-depth it's going to go on various topics, because, I mean, I don't know if people nowadays have the attention span for this. I certainly will do. But a 3-hour documentary, people are going to be settling in for movie night, but like not with an IMDb classic, but with the process documentary. So it's going to be crazy. I think my question is, if it's 3 hours, I mean, how much of the different elements are going to be covered, right? I wonder how much depth they're going to go into about the kind of pred stuff. Because like, if it was 90 minutes, I mean, that would still be phenomenal, right? And it's still movie length, really. But a 3-hour documentary is remarkable. So I think we are going to get a lot of footage in this. We are going to see something that, yeah, certainly from a competitive COD perspective, it's going to be one of the best content pieces that's likely ever been made. It certainly has the story behind it to make that happen. I can understand why Roger wanted to take his time with it, and you know, hopefully it's going to work out for the best for all parties. So that's the plan on that front. Obviously, Dashy says, like, you know, Roger's been moving different this off-season over the last couple of months or so, and yeah, so we'll see what happens, but very much looking forward to that hitting the timeline. So very much into your thoughts in the comments. Just one final thing. We put this out yesterday. The longest consecutive event streak with a 1 or more KD. Scump holds the record at 47. There's some talk that it might even be more than this, because some of the stats for those old events weren't exactly perfect. So there's some talk that Scump actually might have got to 50 events in a row or more. Formal got to 41. Saints, who I've often said is a very underrated player in COD, absolutely one of the best players to have never won the World Championship, I would say. He got to 35 consecutive events with a 1 KD or more. Then we have two current players. Cellium at 31, HyDra at 29, Octane at 28, and then of course some other big names here as well. But Cell and HyDra, I mean, we've got other current players, but Cell and HyDra's streaks are still going. Will they surpass Scump? It's going to take another 3 years at least for that to happen. So very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.